Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Check it out. Here we have the Sonicmodell AR Wing Pro version. FPV wing. Reviews were really good. This has a 39.37 inch wingspan. This is the, that should be like the plug and play kit here. So it should have the motor, servos, all that jazz is in there. Here's some of the specs here. It's supposed to cruise pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, the reviews were good. Ports were good. Here it is, plug and play. Yep, so let's check it out. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet. Came packaged well, made it here pretty quick. Had no problems in shipping. Everything looks like it should be okay. Here's some really sweet decals. Here's a flyer on some of the Zod stuff, or ZOHD if you're James. Here's some of the AR. Here's the Pro Wing that we have here today, and a bunch of their other models. This here looks like the manual. There's one online as well, so whatever works best for you. Here's a baggie of some goodies. Got some plywood bits. Some of the control linkages, some Velcro. Here's a carbon spar, a few of them. Kind of a cool, I don't know what they call that kind of carbon. It's a little bit different looking. I got a prop. Here we've got, looks like a hatch, a wing half, a wing half. Here is some other part. A lot of parts. And there's the body. So let me get these out of the plastic and then we'll be right back. Okay, here's everything out of the packaging. Kind of interesting how they made this in the mold. They must be together, so you're gonna have to cut these off of there. But these would obviously be your wing tips. Go out here. Here you've got a couple different noses that'll go on the front of the, what you call the fuselage, the body. So you got one for a camera, one without. Pretty cool how they did that. You can see you can put a flight camera here as well. So I'm not sure quite, I guess you got an option if you want it dead center or off. I'll probably put a GoPro or Hero, my Hero 9 Black either here or maybe here. We'll see how it bounces, but you probably noticed in the high-speed version there was no servos in here. They're in here. I did happen to find those. You can see there's a slot where a spar is going to go. Now, in this other package, it comes with some CA hinges, so you can opt to cut these off and hinge these with those CA hinges. I probably will not to begin with. We'll see how it goes. Another cool feature, you've got quick disconnect. So once you plug your wing in, don't forget your spar. Don't forget your spar. But once you plug it in, your silver wires and stuff will connect in there. There's two harnesses in here, so you can do your servo, and you could also do, you know, your FPV transmitter or whatever else you want to put out there on the wingtip. Pretty nice. It's got a real durable, slick feeling to it. Other wing clearly the same. So bringing us to the body of this bad boy. You see here there's obviously another hatch for the top if you didn't want to mount something up top here, but so you can pull that off. It's got magnets on it. Choose to do however you want. Put that in there. So you got options. These here pop open, so you can put, you know, your FPV transmitters, gear here and there. You can also, this comes off as well. probably a speed control probably go in there, be my guess at this point. The manual's pretty vague, doesn't show too much. And then you see here, so from the connections, they're already ran into the body. So they did a lot of work for you, which is really great. So here's the motor it comes with. They recommend a 4S, like a 32 to 3500 milliamp. So here's the Sunny Sky X 2216 1400 kV motor. That'll be going on the back. And up here we've got the servos. Look like they're metal geared. And here you have your Sonicmodell 40 amp speed control with your plug. And you'll notice it has an auxiliary power tap on it. Pretty nice for powering your FPV stuff. So clearly your battery will go there. And yeah, nobody that I can find has really done a very good build on this. So I will touch on that and do a detailed build, John BHRC style. So stay tuned for that, and let's get her assembled. Alright, step 1 in the manual says to glue the carbon fiber spar and control horn for aileron enhancement. So that was these two tiny little carbon spars. They're, if that shows up, they're actually square, which is kind of cool, but something to pay attention to, because this could screw you up a little bit, is you see that control horn has a slot in it, or a piece milled in it, so it fits into there. So that'll fit into there. There's a little groove in there for that, and then that'll all get glued into there on both sides. So I'm going to put some foam safe CA in there and glue that baby in, and then we'll be back with the next step. Alright, so one more thing to add here. You know, that does fit through there, but do not put it through there and then glue it in, because you do not want the control horn on the bottom. It goes on the top. So on this one I'll show you how it goes. So there's a big slot on the top. You take your control horn, feed it into there, and then on the bottom, if I can get the reflection shine just right for you guys, anyways, it sticks through there. So now you'll take your rod, you have to find that little groove and just slide that baby all the way down and kind of push it down into place. So there you go. So that control horn locks in on that spar, then that spar goes in. So there you go. So now I'm going to take my thin CA and wick it in that hole, or groove, and glue everything in place. Okay, the next step is the winglets, wingtips. You'll see I got this one on already. It says, so you take two of these little screws, and then the wingtip has screw holes through it. So easy to line up, easy to do. You'll need a small Phillips screwdriver. It does say to add some glue in there for extra strength. That I'll leave up to you. I'll probably just wick a little of that foam safe CA in there since I've got it already, but I'm just going to repeat the process on the other side and move on to the next step. Manual's very vague. It doesn't really cover putting the servos or anything in, so it's a good thing I'm making this for you guys. But anyways, before you put your servos in, A, you want to make sure they work. B, you want to make sure everything works once it's in permanently, right? So I got the model set up in my IX-12, got it selected for a wing. I just hooked stuff up here, got my receiver bound up. This is what I'm going to use for now. Eventually I'll probably put a crossfire system in it, but for now we're just going to fly it on this and get used to it, and in the future we'll upgrade it to a flight controller and some long range gear. But so yeah, apparently the servos look like they're going to work great. Give them a good test. So now they're going to go into the wing with the control horn sticking up, and then we'll put the linkage on. So we'll come back with that next. Alright, so I've got the servos in, routed the wire, hooked it to one of the connections for this. Don't forget to put your screws in the servos to hold that servo horn on. Got that all done. So next, the linkages. So you'll screw these ends onto the rod. They counter screw in, so you can go like this. I'm going to put them on the outside edge of the servo horn, and then they'll be on the outside edge of here. It comes with the screws and bolts. I used a little screwdriver, and then let me get the one I've done here for you. So I held the little nut with this and the screwdriver like this, and then got it installed. And here's what that'll look like down inside there. I'm going to leave this one off probably until I fire it up again, so I can get, I think you're supposed to have a little reflex on these going up initially. I'll have to look into that. But so for now I'm just going to kind of leave it like this. I may put this one through loose, but we'll get it fine-tuned later. So I'm going to finish the process on this side, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, we've got the servos kind of roughed in. You can see there's a little bit of up in them, but we'll fine-tune that later. So next I'm going to get to putting the motor and speed control onto the body. So onto the back of the fuse here, you can see the wires will go up through here. The mount's already installed, and they have the blind nuts in there. So you're going to use these black screws here to mount the plate to the body. And then with the motor come these countersink ones, because you got to put this piece here onto the back of the motor, right? So I'm going to do this, and then screw that onto there, and shove the wires through there, and hook the speed control up in there. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to put a little bit of blue Loctite on these screws so they don't come loose in flight, and we'll be good to go on to the next step. Alright, we got the motor installed, the speed control goes in here. I ran the wires through underneath the little channel there. Do keep in mind that is the spar slot. It will run through there too. There is a little hole in the very bottom center that you can use as well. So I got the receiver in here. I grabbed the wires, a wire from each of these for the ailerons, and now we'll go ahead and put the wings and stuff together. Now once you get them installed, you're going to get these thumb screws that will go in there and screw into this here on the wing through there. So now here's your spar. I was trying to explain earlier, this is like, I think they call it forged carbon on Lamborghinis and such. But anyways, it's got this little spacer thing on it. So you put it through here, and it'll keep it from going all the way through, right? So now you can put this wing on, get everything in the slot, push it in, lock it in, put your screw in the bottom. Notice it's got CG marks molded in. I forgot to mention that earlier. Anyways, you'll screw that one in, then you'll go to the other side, get it lined up, clock it in place, and then put the screw into there as well. Now while we have it upside down, I will also point out that it came with these, they're kind of they're really tough, but you see one will fit here, one will fit here, and one will fit there. So I'm going to put those on for anti-skids, and that way it's just protected very well. Awesome, piece of cake. Okay, so for those that don't know, brushless motors have 3 wires. So when you initially fire it up, if the motor goes the wrong way, now with a pusher prop, it's not going to go on this way. It's going to go on this way. So you need to make sure you're spinning the correct way, right? So if it goes the wrong way, just reverse 2 of these wires. I see it mentioned all the time on the forums, people asking how to reverse a brushless motor. You just pick any 2, reverse them. The colors don't mean anything. That does not matter at all. So we've got that. We've got we've got all this. So basically just going to get the radio set up and check the balance, which feels like it might need a little bit of nose weight, but I don't have the hatches on yet or FPV gear, so we'll get to that in a bit and then we'll be back. Okay, so I got the reflex. I found that in here. It says the reflex is 1.5 to 2 millimeters up, which is very little. You can see here on the US measurement, it's a little bit over a 1/16, under an 1/8. Then it goes for recommended throws, max throws 12 millimeters. So I'll set up probably a dual rate on that. maybe with a land button, maybe with a little extra, or launch button, maybe with a little extra takeoff power. But anyway, they're working great. Those servos are nice and fast and powerful. I'm impressed with those. The motor's going the right way. The prop is loose. Don't tighten the prop until you're ready to go. I put this hatch on for fun. I just got to figure out final placement of the receiver, do a range check for that once we get everything else done. But next we're on to putting in the FPV gear. I was looking at some of the stuff here. So you got this auxiliary hatch, which I guess this airplane is made for the DJI HD FPV system. I don't know much about that, and I don't have it, but this little piece fits in there pretty good. These pieces, I don't know exactly where they go because nothing says. They don't fit, it looks like, on these, nor would you want them to because they go in the front here. But it does look like they fit down in here. So I'm wondering if that, well, it kind of fits, not perfectly. So I'm kind of wondering if it goes in there so you could run a strap through it to hold something down, because it wouldn't make sense to put it this way. So I'm not really sure. If you guys know what those are for, I tried looking around at some of the other guys' videos, Painless 360 and whatever, not very clear. This piece here just snaps in. You got little tabs down in there that'll lock in with whichever one of these you choose to use. Yeah, so that's really about it till I get some FPV gear on it. With the hatch installed, the CG marks down here, and I let go, and see it falls on its tail bad, so you're going to need some definite nose weight without an FPV system in it for sure. Yeah, it just, I'm about an inch behind the CG mark right now with nothing else installed. So if you're going to fly this as a fun fly wing without FPV, you're going to have to add a bunch of weight. Which, whatever, it's got space up here. You could probably hollow this out and chuck it in there, or, you know, maybe a bigger battery. I've got a 4200 in here, which is bigger than it recommends already, and we're still a little bit tail heavy. There's really nothing you can take out of the back. The speed control is where it is. Nothing really else you can change. So, and I don't think just adding a little FPV camera up here is going to be enough. Even the Painless 360 guy said he put weight in his. How much, I'm not sure yet. Once I get the FPV gear on, we'll figure that out, because this is going to be an FPV airplane for me. So at this point, the building is done of the airplane itself, other than the balance and the range check. Now I'm going to dig up some FPV gear and get that installed, and then we'll be back. I'll show you how I did it and what I used. Follow the links down below in the description. Like, comment, and subscribe. Alright guys, well, I got some decals on. You can see it's kind of where I decided to put them, some of them. Not everything is really labeled in the manual, but on the bottom here, it's got these cool ones that wrap around the leading edges that give you kind of some visual there. And then, so remember, off the speed control it had that power tap. I tested the voltage. It seems to be whatever your battery voltage is. So it was 14 volts. I remembered I had this sweet little Zod camera for my other FPV review, and it kind of fits in there. It's a little snug, but it'll work. But it had that plug on it, so I plugged it into the JSD plug here. I just routed it, the wire through here, plugged it in there. Piece of cake. Nothing's going to get you in the air faster, simpler, cheaper than this. I'll have links in the description to that. But so, other than just balancing and checking the 12 millimeters of throw, she's ready to rock. Alright, so playing with balance on this thing. So if I take this wood piece and fit it in there where I think it's supposed to go, then take all this lead and stuff it in here, and take the full cover one, which I would have to hog out to fit. Then with a 3200 in there, it balances on the CG mark, so that's good. These are 0.25 a piece. There's quite a few of them. I'll weigh them maybe if my scale turns on and see. As far as the front of the bird goes, so Hero 5 session fits in there, no problem. This would work with this in here to put a strap around it and hold it, which is probably what I'll end up doing. My brand new Hero 9 Black does not fit in there. You guys can see there. You could probably just cut away the bird and force it to fit, but I don't know if I want a $400 camera hanging off the front there, because it doesn't give it a whole lot of crash protection. A little bit, but I guess you're not flying it to crash it anyway, right? But yeah, so tip for you. So here's all the weight. I wrapped them in paper or tape. My scale wouldn't turn on. I don't know what's wrong with it, but that'll fit in there. You can see I hogged this all out. Here's all the pieces that came out. It lost a little strength, but it doesn't really do much, but it's just enough to where I can kind of squeak it in place. There we go. And that locks it in. See, it doesn't come apart. Maybe in a crash it'll eject that, but whatever, I'm not too worried about crashing. So now it balances perfect. It is ready to fly short of a range check. The FPV system worked great, so we're going to have some footage from that. So next stop will be the flying field. I'm trying to figure out how I like the wires for the first setup.